Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan, the other two republics, are rather different because while Kazakhstan has a somewhat authoritarian ruler, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan really have maintained the kind of the Soviet police state mentality that has gone in other places. So, for people living there, in some ways not a lot has changed. There's been limited privatization, but the state still has a lot of control. Opposition figures locked up. Media are regularly suppressed, and there's less exposure to outside ideas there. So, and Uzbekistan is a great tragedy because it's the agriculturally the most important part of the region, has a fertile Fergana Valley and the cotton fields. It has these great medieval cities on the Silk Road. I mean, it's a beautiful place, yet it's so difficult to get anything done there. The bureaucracy, the corruption, and the level of government control. I was in Tashkent, the capital of Uzbekistan, in 1999, and I had an experience I'd never had before working in media. I went and I had a meeting with the official censors. There's still a room there, a room in the big press building where the censors work, and they sort of cross out things there. Now, there were two delightful women, middle-aged women, and we had a nice cup of tea together, but the censors are still working here, and I think they've gone now, and the controls that the government exercises over media are more indirect through pressure on advertisers and financial pressures and ownership pressures, but still the level of control there has really held back Uzbekistan in terms of its economic development.
What's going to change that?
A new regime. Islam Karimov, the president, who was a powerful figure in Soviet times, basically the Soviet Union collapsed. He sort of changed the lettering on the door of his office and continued on business as usual. And this time the orders don't come from Moscow, they come from Tashkent, the capital. But they have suppressed the opposition fairly successfully, and I have to say that the West and the US have turned largely a blind eye to this because Uzbekistan has been important in terms of the war in Afghanistan. So if you want to have bases and you want to have access roads, you don't go antagonizing the ruler of the country, even if the ruler of the country is locking up political prisoners, torturing them. There was a massacre of opposition supporters in a place called Andijan. It's a pretty repressive regime, but you don't hear a lot about it in the West because Uzbekistan's an ally in the war against terrorism, and a lot of the suppression of political parties has been on the pretext that they were going to be Islamists, that it was Islamic fundamentalism. And it's very easy to say, Islamic fundamentalism, let's close down this newspaper, let's lock up these opponents. Well, it's a pretext simply for clamping down on opposition in many cases.